Hi and welcome back to Tales Against Humanity, r// I don't work here lady. In today's episode, I don't work at this hospital. Karen gets me fired from my job that I don't have. Thanks, language barrier. Why would I be working with my toddler? And why would a store employee kidnap a child on the clock? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I don't work at this hospital. This one is a fun one, no crazy Karen involved, just a very, very tired woman. Once upon a time I pricked myself with the needle while putting some stitches on a patient. Sometimes sh*t happens, so as safety protocols go, I needed to get myself tested for all blood-related diseases and get the preventive medication. For reasons unknown to me till this day, I couldn't do this on my own hospital, but the one approved by my work's insurance. An hour away. But no big deal, I went there and oh my god, the ER was full. 6 p.m. Friday night. It takes an hour for me to be seen by a colleague who orders all my lab tests, and then sends me to the waiting area, which were actually some chairs in the middle of the observation unit. As I told you, this place was in the limits of its capacity, so apart from there being no empty chairs, there was actually no space where I could stand still without being a hindrance to the people working. So I ended standing right in front of the nurse's desk, waiting for my name to be called. Little detail I forgot to mention until now. All this happened with me still wearing my scrubs, which have Dr. Faco Nolas name, general practitioner embroidered on the chest pocket. After some time a middle-aged nurse, who I will call Nurse Twyla, came to me full force. She looked tired, like on the verge of fainting tired, wild hair, messy uniform, the stethoscope hanging out of her pocket, but with that energy burst you have just right before you collapse. The next words are obviously reconstructed, but I am trying to be exact. Twyla, hi doctor, goodness, what a day we are having, am I right? Me, not understanding, thinking she just wants to talk, sure, this place looks packed. Twyla, and that's nothing. Let me tell you all you are going to deal with tonight, me in my mind, sorry what? Before I could answer, Twyla takes out her chart and starts describing all the patients in the unit. Twyla, so the patient in the 01 is just recovering from a heart attack, 02 is probably a broken hip, we are waiting the x-ray, 03, oh 03 is a case, if I say so myself, complete renal failure, I can't believe he is still alive, but moving on. Me, sorry, Nurse Twyla? I looked the name and the work ID she had on the neck. Twyla, yes doctor? Any doubts? Me, yeah, you see I am not a doctor, or well, I am a doctor, but it's St. Some guy's name hospital, not here. Here I am just another patient. She gives me this confused wide-eyed stare, that lasts way too long. The only comparison I can think of is a robot that has suddenly glitched and is trying to process its surroundings. After maybe 30 seconds, she snaps out of it and turns red of embarrassment. Twyla, OMG. I am so sorry doctor, I mean sir, I mean doctor, she literally said that, no paraphrasing here, I am so sorry for bothering you, we are having so many new staff members these days it's hard to keep track of them all. Have you seen by any chance the other head nurse? A tall woman, blonde hair, with a white scrub? Me, I think she went that way, I pointed my finger to where I saw the blonde nurse go 10 minutes before. Twyla, thanks. And again, I am so sorry. After that, poor Nurse Twyla went looking for her coworker and I never saw her again. But I hope she got a well-deserved sleep after the hell day she was having. Thanks for reading guys. Karen gets me fired from my job that I don't have. Thanks, language barrier. I'm in my late teens. My dad works at a fancy makeup brand selling really expensive makeup in a mall I frequent. One day after doing some shopping there, I figured instead of taking the train back home, I'd wait a few minutes until the end of his shift then go home with him, saving my sweet train fare credit. I enter the shop and he sets me down on a chair behind his counter, so I can wait for him, and he goes to the back. I'm sitting there alone on my phone. All the employees of her particular brand are in the back as it's not very busy. I'm fairly scrawny, about 5 feet 3 inches, wearing a graphic t-shirt, shorts and a pair of clumpy docks. The employees wear nice black shirts and gray trousers. I am quite clearly not one of them, or so I thought. I put on my headphones, listen to some rslash, check my messages, blah blah blah, absolutely engrossed in my phone, when a lady taps me on my shoulder. I look up, surprised, and there she is. Karen, Chinese edition. If you're Chinese, you know this woman. Snobby, pearl-clad, and spends a lot of her husband's wealth on skincare products. You speak Chinese? She asks, rudely. I'm half Chinese and my Chinese is fairly basic. I can hold a conversation fine, but I certainly don't know how to discuss high-end makeup products. I'm confused by her question, but reply in Chinese, yes, I can. Karen sighs and begins chattering about different products she wants and starts blurting different meaningless numbers at me. I, of course, have no clue what this mad woman is going on about and tell her something along the lines of I don't understand. This isn't my workplace. Once again, my Chinese is crap. What do you mean? She barks, then continues on her spiel about different things I very much do not understand. I don't like confrontation, so I just repeat I don't work here, to no avail. Susie, who works at a different counter and speaks Chinese, notices the drama and interrupts the woman. Of course she doesn't work here. She's a kid. Normally, in this situation, an ordinary human being would apologize and seek out an actual employee. Unfortunately, as we all know, Karens aren't normal. She sneers at Susie, who is the sweetest person ever, and demands my manager, which was difficult for me to figure out, as it went something like, I want to talk to, word I don't know. What? I can't understand you. I want to talk to, word I don't know. Eventually Susie informs me she is asking for my manager and calls over Edna, the manager, who is a white woman who doesn't speak any Chinese. Awesome. Karen realizes Edna probably only speaks English, so communicates angrily through Susie. Susie translates something like this woman thinks Mara Sunnyside service was terrible because she doesn't speak any Chinese. Just to clarify, this was in North America. Edna is very confused and the irony finally hits Karen, who starts looking uncomfortable. Edna asks Susie to give her some free samples from fancy makeup brand and send her on her way, which she does, and Edna leaves. Karen grumbles to Susie that I should have been fired, so Susie turns to me and, in Chinese, says Mari Sunnyside. You were a terrible worker. You're fired. I catch on quick as I adore this subreddit and adopt an man, sad face attitude as I pick up my bag and leave the shop. I decided to take the train back after all. Ironically, I was hoping to get a job in the shop while in uni, but I guess Susie firing me will make it difficult to be hired/J. Why would I be working with my toddler? And why would a store employee kidnap a child on the clock? This happened a few months ago, mid-October, when the weather was still nice where I live. I went to our local Kroger to grab a few things I needed for dinner. This is important because I wasn't using a cart, just a basket. My oldest son, who is 3.5, loves to go to the store and do anything that involves getting out of the house, so I decided to let him tag along and leave his other brother at home with Dad. Grocery trips for us are kind of like our little mom and son dates. I usually let him pick out a toy or a treat of some kind. Since outings aren't as often since the pandemic, I try to keep things normal and exciting for him. This is where story comes into play. For note, I was wearing a light blue polo, but the store dress code is a dark blue polo with the store logo and khakis. I was wearing jean shorts that in no way was too short, but definitely wouldn't be allowed for any employee of a grocery store. People involved will be MET's toddler son and RK Rude Karen. So about 20 minutes into our trip I had grabbed the few vegetables I needed. It was just shopping around the canned goods aisle to grab some things I might need in the future. I was putting a can of something back in exchange for a larger version. I didn't see it first when I hear "Ma'am, I need your assistance right this instant." Not working there, I figured someone was just being an ass to a nearby worker and carried on until about 30 seconds later while looking at different canned good items when RK grabs my arm and pulls me around. Excuse me, can I help you? RK, I know you heard me, now help me find the molasses now. I don't work here clearly, so how about no and don't touch me again. As a matter of fact, we're in a pandemic and you're not even wearing a mask. Get away from me. RK, I have COPD, I can't wear one. Where is your manager? That's a violation for you to even ask about my medical condition. Now go find this child's parents instead of dilly-dallying around like you're supposed to, or else I'll tell the manager you weren't gonna give this child back. Completely stunned and pissed at this point. For one, I didn't ask about your medical condition, I said get away from me since you are above health codes. How dare you accuse me of stealing a child? Again, I don't work here, lady, and this stolen child happens to be my son. Are you okay? RK, yes you did ask me, you little bitch. I know you're a little rotten liar who doesn't want to get in trouble. Now, take me to the manager now. You're no older than 16, who are you keeping this child from? I am 25 years old, he came from my vagina and is my son. I do not work here. Get the hell away from me before I get a manager myself. You are scaring my son. TS is visible scared and on the verge of tears at this point. RK, he looks scared because you stole him. So now I'm no longer finding his parents but stole him on the clock? RKC, you just admitted it, you do work here. At this point my son is crying, and so I just grab his hand and walk to find a manager as fast as I can, with RK screaming behind me that she's getting a manager, and that I am kidnapping a child, so people are starting to look. I finally find the manager. It doesn't take much to explain the situation, as RK was trailing behind me screaming as I was talking to him. He very quickly confirmed I did not work there, and then told her to leave for making such accusations, and not adhering to local health department guidelines. She of course refused, started causing an even bigger scene on how we were human trafficking in the store, and the police up getting called by her. Yes, she was the one who called 911 to report a kidnapping, and she is arrested in front of a good 150 people. Basically just had to tell the cops my situation, and how she was following me throughout the store accusing me of stealing my own son, and that was that, and went home, and on with the rest of my day. So RK, I sincerely hope a jar of molasses was worth a trip to jail, and you received the mental health care you clearly need.